Welcome, everybody, to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders. This is a live streaming Star Wars video podcast by Star Wars fans for Star Wars fans. And today we're going to wrap up Season 3 of Mandalorian with our episodic review of Chapter 24, The Return. Man, I am washed the fuck out. This is... whatever. That's how today's going to go.
Yeah. So initial thoughts. What do you got?
A lot of continuity issues, but it was fucking awesome.
Continuity issues?
Yeah, man, the fucking jetpacks.
What?
Like, yeah, because they could just fly wherever the fuck they want.
Oh, right,
as long as they
space.
want. They could go to outer space. They could do everything. They just cannot fly in a canyon, otherwise they run out of fuel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, you know,
Those birds,
maybe I'm wrong and they had like some fucking fuel tucked in their pockets so that when it starts to go out, they just flip it in there or something.
First of all, Axe Woves definitely had fuel reserves. Like, he was fucking prison walleting that shit.
Probably.
And as soon as he started running out, as soon as the camera panned off of him, he like slid it out, plugged it in. He was good.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, that was the only part that I was like, wait, what? Like the Iron Man moment, you know, like going into the upper atmosphere. I was like, huh. So that's a thing now. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my only bitch fit.
Okay. All right. My initial thoughts were, what a weird fucking end to a weird fucking season.
That too. That too. That was very, very. Admittedly, I was a little heavily medicated when I watched it, and it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I had to like rewind it to make sure that I saw what I saw.
I was getting a very Raising Arizona vibe at the ending. Just like sitting in their trailer park, enjoying the Arizona desert, or maybe it was Utah. And I was just like, this is fucking Raising Arizona. What? I would rather be watching Raising Arizona right now. Like,
yeah,
but still, all right. I'm conflicted. So this was written by Jon Favreau, directed by Rick Famuyiwa, and released this past Wednesday, April 12th. So, I mean, this is it. This is the 8th and final episode of season 3. This culminates everything, and it actually felt echoed by everyone everywhere online in the universe as like the series end, even though it's not.
It should be.
Oh no!
I'm just throwing that out right now. This last season has been dog shit upon dog shit upon dog shit. So, like, why keep going? Like, just let the dead horse rot and become one with the earth. You don't need to keep beating it.
So Favreau said that this is the halfway point in the story that they have planned to tell.
Cool. I wonder if they're going to actually come up with the rest of the story before they film it.
Cool. So I can't help but wonder if this is the halfway point. There's going to be 3 more seasons before we see Thrawn? Like, it's all culminating in the film that they just announced.
Yeah.
So, what? Like, what?
I mean, it's Disney, man. Like, they can't decide anything. Like, it's just all a shit show. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna do all these shows and all these movies. Okay, let's just not say anything, and no one will think about it.
We'll pretend like we didn't announce it in Celebration, and it'll just go away.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
People ask us about it later, we'll just be like, well, you know, they had other pressing concerns. It was definitely not us. It wasn't us. It was them.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Okay, Disney, I hear you. Kathleen Kennedy is a shit producer. Like, because you've had some amazing films under your belt does not mean you are forever amazing. Like tattoo artists, you know more than anyone else. Like all artists, you are only as good as your last piece. So I figure she's a big pile of garbage.
Yeah.
By those ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
That being said,
someone needs to fire her. We
pick up right where we left off in the last episode.
Yeah, that was very jarring too. Because I looked down at my phone for 2 seconds because it went off, and then I look up and they're just running through. I'm like, what the shit? What did I miss? Because it's just black and then them exiting. So it's like, okay, did I miss something? Did my fucking TV blackout for a second there, because it does that sometimes. Nope. That's how it started, and that's how it should have started.
Yeah. I like the bookend of like a next time on The Mandalorian, like that used to be like an 80s staple. It was a huge episode if they like stopped mid-story and they were like, and it'll be picked up in the next episode. And so it was like much watched TV, like you had to tune in. And that was when there were no like streaming services or reruns or anything. You just had to be there when it aired, or you just fucking missed out.
Yeah.
Even like Who's the Boss had that. Who's the Boss?
And no one missed out on that.
Everyone tuned in. Mandalorian, it happens, and people are like, meh. I mean, it's not Who's the Boss, but I guess we'll watch it.
Yeah, it's. I still haven't watched it a second time, so yeah.
Yeah, I planned on it, but I didn't do it either.
It's just I wanted to, but I just couldn't bring myself to it. Like, admittedly, a mushroom documentary last night was much more.
Dude, was it Fantastic Fungi?
It was Fantastic Fungi. Yeah! I want to start foraging now.
Oh my gosh, that is the best documentary I have ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I agree. It has definitely knocked down. Oh God, what's the Room 237? Like that's like one of my all-time favorite documentaries. Right. It's knocked down a notch.
Yeah, dude. First of all, if anyone here is ever watching this and they haven't seen Fantastic Fungi, it is so much better than Mandalorian.
So much fucking better.
And it's real.
Like, so, I cried. Like, it made me cry when I was watching it.
It's amazing. It's genuinely beautiful. Amazing. It recontextualizes. This is going to be a Fantastic Fungi episode. It recontextualizes what it means to be alive, like living, like the idea that we are human beings on this planet. We have this insane idea that we're at the top of the food chain. We're in charge of everything. But the truth is we are just one of a billion different species that have ever existed. And the fungi are feeding into everything. It's a fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is seriously like just fantastic.
Hey Chris, how you doing? Have you seen Fantastic Fungi? You should.
If you haven't, you should.
You really
way
should.
More important than this.
It completely changes the way you look at Last of Us. Like it came out way before the series did. Yeah. I mean, it was like 3 or 4 years ago it came out. And it was brilliant. But check it out. Yeah, all right, definitely. So this is The Mandalorian. So we're gonna go back.
Yeah.
It's not even Who's the Boss. This is Mandalorian. So we're going to talk about that. There's a lot in this episode that I really enjoyed. And thinking back, I can't tell if I didn't like this series or this season because I expected too much or it didn't deliver enough. And that disparity is actually kind of bothering me because it really sets up the entire expectation of what Star Wars means. So when I was watching Star Wars A New Hope, before it was A New Hope, just Star Wars and then Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi, I had zero expectations. I was just like, I'm open to whatever you have to give me, George. Like, feed me your 3 inches of happiness and I will take it. I'll take it like a goddamn champ.
Absolutely.
Or at least cry trying. And to be honest, everything that he delivered, even how silly or whatever, I accepted it. Prequels, I accepted it. It was like, okay, this is what you're doing. I'm down. When it comes to The Mandalorian, we have 2 seasons of precedent. And this felt wildly disparate from those first 2 seasons.
Absolutely.
And so for those who are just complaining that, fans who are complaining about this particular season are just, they're expecting too much, they're demanding too much, their expectations are too high.
That's their fault.
I don't think that's the case. I think the truth is that they set something up and they didn't deliver on what they set up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I can't help but think all of this could have been better. All of it, with a little bit more connective tissue throughout the season. And you can argue, and fairly I would argue, that it was very connected. Like, it was all the Mandalorians trying to reconnect while there's this B-plot of the Imperial Revenant focused specifically on Moff Gideon and his sort of echelon, erasing their footprints in their background in order to hyper-focus on and move forward. And there were some really, really powerful moments in this. They called back to dark forces with the Dark Troopers, specifically Moff Gideon, and then they called back to the EU with Dark Empire 2 with the Dark Jedi. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing that, unless you paid attention to Star Wars EU, you probably had no fucking idea that that was like a controversial or exciting thing, that you could instill force powers into non-force people or clones. But that was something that they explored. And it started with the Thrawn trilogy. It continued with Dark Empire and then Dark Empire 2. It was like a thing. And so if you didn't know any of that, then maybe this was a little weird. But for those of us who were sort of obsessive about Star Wars since, we were kids.
Back when it was Star Wars.
Right. Dark Troopers and Dark Jedis, that's bread and butter, man. That's fucking absolutely. Bring it home. Mm-hmm. I loved it. And that's why I can't decide whether they are just feeding us nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, or they're actually trying to tell an interesting story. Because I'm not getting the interesting story, but I'm definitely getting the nostalgia.
Either. Well, and it's nostalgia and fan service, which fan service inherently isn't bad as long as there's a good story. Mm-hmm. But when the most exciting part of this for me was Grogu eating chicken nuggets, because that's a fucking meme, that says a lot. Like, that was awesome. I was laughing my ass off, and it's 2 a.m. I'm possibly going to end my own life because I'm going to wake my wife up and she's going to murder me because of how funny that was. But that's like the most memorable part of this episode, and that's fucking wrong.
That was so funny, dude.
It was pretty
Grogu
funny.
Eating anything. First it was bone broth. It was like watching Cara Dune and fucking Din Djarin fight. And then it was like him going to some school program eating M&Ms or macaroons is what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now it's fucking chicken nuggets. Like,
and then there were the frogs, the eggs.
Right,
like,
yeah.
It's just, everything it's great.
This fucking guy, man. Goddamn Din Grogu.
Yeah, which that was an interesting choice.
I really prefer Grogu Djarin personally, but
well, and I was reading into that and stuff, and they were trying to explain that, oh, well, that was his culture's thing. And it's like, but he's Mandalorian. It's like, once you take that creed, you don't have a culture outside of that. So it's kind of weird because, you take the last name, not the first name, but whatever. I guess that's the direction they're going.
Yeah. It's a small thing.
I don't give a shit. It's still Grogu.
Yeah. I do like the idea that like he formally adopted him finally. I felt like he already did it. Like,
that was really weird to me. Yeah, it's like the thing is in EU, Mandalorians were very nonchalant about big deal things. Marriage, it's literally you just saying that you're married. Adoption, you don't even have to say it. You just fucking, it's like, oh yeah, no, you're with me. Come on, let's go. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's adoption. So that it became this big formal thing. It's like, wait, no, he already adopted him a fucking season ago. Yeah. Okay, I guess now adoption means he's an apprentice? That's
okay.
Is that how that works? You apprentice to be a part of a culture.
Right.
Gotcha.
It could happen. Oops.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put on the images that we have.
Hey, there we go.
They're all fucked up looking. All right, there we go. Last Lorian.
That's what we really need.
Dude,
because at this point it doesn't fucking matter.
It would be all just like sex and like buggering and just fucking nonsense. It would be great.
I would eat up every second of it.
So Chris is asking what happened to the Mandalorian armor shard found on the ship. They didn't explain that. I feel like they did.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty explained because the Dark Troopers are like, it's a Beskar alloy.
Yeah.
And it just one of them blew the fuck up. So makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing was him admitting that he's been mining the resources of Mandalore to create the next version of clone troopers or dark troopers, and that's the Dark Forces Dark Trooper, which is basically more. It ends up being more of like a skeleton of a human in a robot, like a Terminator, basically.
Yeah.
But like, great storyline, and it was, you know, I liked that they did a little callback to that. But yeah, that I immediately got that. In the same way, the last episode, everyone was like, "Oh, there's spies everywhere. It says the spies," and we were like, "Wasn't it the girl?"
are we gonna get to the thing that I fucking hate already about this episode? God, explain the spy. Like, you make it seem like it's such a big deal, and it's spies, so that's plural. That's at least two. And instead we have the one fucking spy. Like, who the fuck was the spy, and why was that the title of the episode? When it was the beginning of the episode, she's like, "Oh, there's Mandalorians, dude. We got to do something." Like, we already know she's a fucking double agent. No one gives a fuck. We got that when she offed Homeboy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But that was literally it. Like, they were just leading with their noses. It was the most obvious fucking thing. And like, as Star Wars fans always do, we're fucking trying to dig deep and figure out some deeper understanding and meaning of
like, because that used to be a thing.
Yeah. No, it's clear.
Yeah, it's like, don't tell me the story. I want to discover it. Fuck, that's why it's always been good. Like, harkening back to EU, like, yeah, you could kind of guess where books were going to go, but if it was a series, like, you finish it and you start over immediately because you're like, I now have a different understanding of this first book, and then you start over and you just keep learning more things from the same stuff.
Yeah.
This is just, it's a fucking picture book.
Yeah, it's wild. It forces me to think about a review we're going to do after this review. About Sam Raimi, how he said he's going to create a sort of a Bible for filmmakers going forward to make future Evil Dead films. Like, this is
that's
the tone that you need. And the whole time I'm thinking, why the fuck didn't they do that for Star Wars?
They did. That's the frustrating thing. There was literally a group of people since the fucking 70s that have been quite literally expanding the universe for over 40 fucking years. Like,
Star Wars like, that's what it was. And George had to sign off on everything, every ridiculous, nonsensical thing he had to sign off on in some way or another. If he had a proxy, well, then they had his vote, but like, it was always had to have his approval. Now it's
that's
just
why
like,
that's like Darth Plagueis. That book got pushed a year almost because of Uncle George. I mean, whatever. I don't know why, but it was still released and it was fucking beautiful.
Great.
1313.
Right.
Uncle George, like, nah. Even though they put all those resources into it, like, he was a weird one, but at least there was something there.
Yeah. At least you knew that there was a captain at the ship. You may not always agree with the turn they made, you know, but there was a captain, and you just sort of like, okay, but it's literally it's his ship. So like, just steer us wherever you want to go, and we'll just sort of accept it or we'll tune out. But we know it's true to what it is. This is not that. And that's, I think, what bothers me more than anything else. Like, the disparity of original Star Wars versus Disney Star Wars started with the sequel trilogy, and it immediately turned off a huge mass of the fan base. And I was one of those who was like, yeah, we can still work through this. We can work it out. Like, let's just keep going. I'll pretend that those three films didn't exist, and we'll just keep moving forward. And the further we get forward, the further I feel like we're getting away from what it's supposed to be. And the trust that I had in Filoni is actually starting to wane a bit. Like, I'm really at a place where I don't know that I care as much anymore.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, that was the biggest thing, was with Filoni and Favreau taking over. Like, the Filoni is literally the heir to the Empire. Like, that is Uncle George's right-hand man. He studied that man's work, worshipped that man's work. And even Uncle George himself said, no, he understands this better than anybody else. And then you have the likes of Jon Favreau, who is brilliant in almost everything that he does. And yeah, you take into account the first 2 seasons, like those were perfection. That's what brought back the hope that I had for Star Wars after Rogue One and after Solo came out. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. Those 3 films, they're there. People like them. That's awesome. The TV series, that's where real Star Wars fans go to, and it's gone. Like they're trying. It's almost like they're trying
for 2 years. I mean,
right. But, well, I mean, not really, because, I mean, fucking Andor was great. But, okay, I mean, it also wasn't... Andor... It stuck with Rogue One really well, but Rogue One, admittedly, wasn't really a Star Wars movie. It was just a brilliant war film that just so happened to take place in the Star Wars universe. Right. But, yeah, it's like they're trying to turn everything into a cartoon. And that's all I can think about is like this entire season. It feels like this was, another season of the Clone Wars.
Yeah. So I agree 100% with what you said about Rogue One up until the ending with Vader approaching.
Yeah,
ship. Then it was like pure Star Wars jizz all over my face. And I was just like, bring it, baby. I'll take it. Give it to me. Like that was like 100% gushing Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I have yet to feel that in season 3 of The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. Like season 2 at the end with Luke, fuck me. I was in. I was 100% in. Season 1, just this sort of episodic gunslinger, sort of Western that Star Wars started, was inspired from. I dug. I was in, in the episodes leading up to the very ending of season 2 was the same, same thing. It was expanding the universe and everything. Mm-hmm. I think the problem I have with season 3 is that rather than calling back to the Star Wars that the OG fans really love, like Luke, for example, it's looking forward to the sequel trilogy and bringing that in as the connective tissue rather than looking back. And for me, I just don't care about that. And so it makes me not care about the thing that I've been caring about for so long because you're reaching out to something that everyone objectionably hates. Like, even if you really love those sequel trilogies, you can't disagree with the idea that they are wildly disparate than the rest of the fucking franchise. Yeah. They're completely different. And so, and even like the fucking last one, which should have been amazing because it called back to such wonderful EU moments, it did so by cherry picking and taking away the soul that the EU moments had.
Right.
And so it was just like, fan service, but no actual soul to back it up. And so I'm watching this episode and like, I'm calling those moments, like we have those great moments where Grogu is helping Din fight off the Praetorian Guards. And I'm like, why the fuck aren't you using your force powers, Grogu? You spent 2 years with Luke. And then he uses like a force power to pull something. I'm like, okay, there you go. Like, you give me a little bit here. But I was screaming at the TV more than Grogu was actually delivering, telling him like fucking A-B, up, down, left, right, fucking start. Like I'm trying to get him to do the Contra code, cheat codes. And he's like, even though I did those in reverse for the fucking nerds out there.
Yeah, I was like, that was wrong, but okay, go on.
But you knew
that's
what
why
I
I didn't do
it. Like that's my biggest problem is that all previous seasons looked behind them in the rearview mirror for the nostalgia. This one looked forward because it's trying to connect forward. What did you think about Moff Gideon being the one to actually make Force clones? Like, did that work well with you? Was it too sudden and short-lived? Like, did you want to see it develop more? Like, how did you feel about it?
It didn't make sense to me. Like,
I mean, they let up from season 1. I just thought he was going to go to the Emperor.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I thought. And then turns out, nope, he just has his own clones that are force sensitive. Like, it was like, that's an interesting choice. I don't know. Everything seemed so kind of rushed on his end, like story-wise, especially with the last 2 episodes. So it was like, it didn't quite hit for me.
Especially with the Force aspect of it. That was literally like a 3-minute block of the final episode, which was a fucking pubic hair over a half an hour in length.
Yeah.
Like, it blew my mind. Like, why would you spend so little? You were teasing it 2 seasons ago, 2 years ago. You were teasing it, and this is how you're paying it off in the very last episode, just for a couple minutes,
right? And then they're just wiped out. Like,
yeah, and that's it. Like, and I know it's Star Wars, so I know there's going to be a moment where they're like, season 4 or 5, Moff Gideon comes back. You thought you killed me, but like, fuck off. You're not the Emperor.
He's not anything. He's just a fucking spoiled ass rich kid that hasn't been told no before. Like, that's all that motherfucker is. And it's so disappointing because the end of season 1, he's the ultimate badass. Like, this is the motherfucker that is going to bring the Imperial remnant together, unite that shit, and then go fuck off out to space and, you know, do the whole First Order shit. Mm-hmm. Like, he seemed like a badass, and then it's just like, man, I want the Darksaber. Oh no, fire! Ah! Like,
yeah,
fuck.
I love that voice. You did that last episode too, or 2 episodes ago with the council. It was just a fucking gold.
I mean, it's what it is to me.
So Chris has a theory. Gideon was a clone in this episode. He has a mustache last year, all season, and shaved this year. And that's the way to bring him back. What do you think?
I'd be so pissed off.
I'd be pissed too.
Like, that's almost like the end of a movie. Somebody wakes up from a dream.
No, dude.
And it's like, oh, it was all a dream. It's like, no, fuck you. Go home. You're grounded.
I was just watching Smile right before this, and first of all, it's a great film, but there's a one moment in it that sets it up as if it's real and ends up being a dream. And it's the biggest record scratch moment ever. He's like, fuck you. How dare you? How stupid do you think I am that I would buy that? Like, it really upset me, but that's what this was like. Like, if that's the take, like, he is a clone because he didn't have a mustache, I want to punch Favreau in the dick.
Yeah, no, we're just going to start referring to that as the Chris theory. He says it's branding, so yeah, I know that's the Chris theory.
All right. Chris theory sucks. It's like when the fucking asshole baby face was like, your Snoke theory sucks. No, your Chris theory sucks. Sorry, dude, I love you, but no. The way they left the ending, it seems like they might go to episodic bounty missions next season. Are you guys interested in that idea? Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That was the first season. Yes, give me that again.
Yeah,
like, I don't need a fucking. Okay, I know this is kind of the polar opposite of what I've been bitching about this entire season, but I don't need a fucking story arc. Like, if we can just have like a serial show of just those two fucking around the galaxy.
Yeah.
That's all I want. That's all I care about. It's, start to finish each episode. That's the entirety of a story. Yeah, cool. Give me that. Give me 30 seasons of that. I'll watch every single one of them.
Yeah.
But
I want to interpretive dance your statement because I really loved. I like the idea of a full story arc. Like, it's what fucking storytelling is. It's fucking A to B to C, and you sort of the hero's journey. You come around to the end much wiser for the experience. But you set that up, but you didn't deliver it, and so that's why we're sort of frustrated with this season. Is that it gave us like tiny moments of like a grander story arc, but then the story arc they delivered was very unsatisfying. To the point of the episodic without the story arc. Yeah, like, of course, that's what the Mandalorian is. Like, the story arc is his needing to survive in a galaxy that's torn apart by a civil war. So he's going to, take whatever crazy jobs he has. And this episode ended with just returning to form. And I'm stoked for it. Like, I will watch a 4th season because you set it up that way.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Let the Mandalorians go fuck off on their planet. The two groups will finally become united, and maybe they'll all take their helmets off. Maybe they'll all put them back on. Who cares? That's a different show. Like, just those two. I mean, even just a season of them just hanging around the house doing chores and shit. Like, that'd be better than this season.
I would totally watch like a good 10-minute scene of them just doing like chores. Because Grogu would be like using the Force, and Din would be like, "Stop it! You need to do it yourself. You need grit, kid." And he's like, "Okay, Dad." And then Din turns his back, and he's like using the Force again. Like, yes, I want that. Give me that. Just one scene. That's it. That's all I ask for, and I'll watch your shitty season. One fucking scene. Okay, so focusing in on this episode.
Oh yeah, we should probably talk about it, huh?
That's what we're talking about. We have the Mandalorians trying to find their way to safety in this sort of underground area that Moff Gideon has taken over, and then alternately we have this sort of the side plot where Grogu is going to save Din Djarin. And did that go too easy for you? Did you like how it played out? What do you think?
No, I liked how it played out. Because, I mean, he's a badass. Why wouldn't it be that way?
Yeah, I loved it reminded me of a video game, actually, when Grogu and Din were, like, fighting the troopers two at a time. Mm-hmm. Like, that was very, like, Force Awakens to me, or Jedi, Star Wars Jedi, what is that called? Fallen Order. Yeah. Or the upcoming Survivor. Like,
right. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah, my fucking computer probably won't be able to run it. I'm so upset still.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Bastards.
Oh, you fuckers.
Yeah, no, I dug it. And it's as weird as it is to see Grogu just rocking around in the IG unit. Like, it's still pretty fucking cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's mech Grogu. Who doesn't like that on paper? Yeah. It's fucking amazing. I like that he got away from it.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't stick. Like, it was cool for what it was, but if that just became the entirety of that character, I just, nah. Yeah.
And it was just like you said last episode, it was just like for him to break apart the fight. Like, that's why they had the mech, the IG unit. The fights in this, but it's specifically between Din / Grogu and the Praetorian Guards, while Moff Gideon and Bo-Katan, why can't I remember her name? Bo-Katan are like fighting amongst each other. I like that they sort of separated it, so there's like two different things. It might have been interesting if they tried to do like some weird, like kept it all together in one space. And so it was just the chaos of the moment that determined whether Din was facing Gideon or the Praetorian Guards, or all of them together. I think I would have enjoyed something like sort of messy like that more, but I do appreciate the focus of mano a mano, So I like that Gideon and Katan had this moment of, you took the saber from me, I want it back. And then like her being like, no, you don't get this motherfucker. Like, come on, I'm gonna end your dumbass. Like, I liked that, and the whole time you heard motor like spinning sounds, like mechanism sounds. So I was shocked when I saw online people were like freaking out, like, how did he crush the Darksaber? He's in a fucking robot suit.
They're fucking crush guns. Have you guys never read a goddamn book? That's EU shit.
It's straight up just Dark Trooper very illegal stuff. I mean, of course you heard it. Of course he could crush it. And like people were complaining, like, it didn't hurt her hand. Did you not see her hand? Like, she was like freaking out that her hand was all fucked up.
Yeah, she got pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I didn't. It's almost like I was not watching the same thing that these fucking complainers were watching.
Dude, you know what? I've been saying that same shit all fucking season. Every episode, I'm watching a different show than everybody else.
Yeah.
I know the mouse droids were fucking hilarious, man. That's and it's so funny too, like, because I'm a part of a bunch of different costuming groups and stuff, and one of them is the droid builders. And 2 days after the episode dropped, I guess, well, technically a day and a half, but like, I'm already seeing people modifying their mouse droids to have LEDs on top. It's like, that's fucking rocking.
I'm a big fan of the mouse droid. I don't know why. It's just silly.
Dude, I love him so much.
I feel like Lucas fucked up the droid game when he gave R2 in the prequels jetpacks. I feel like that made all droids like a little bit too tough. Like the great thing about droids is that they're wildly intelligent and they perform functions with more precision than a human or a mortal creature could ever. That's why they exist. They fill a need. You start giving them like fucking fighting skills, and what's the point anymore? Like, why are there people? It should all just be droids.
I mean, look at Mr. Bones, dude. Like,
right.
God, I will die on that hill of wanting a Mr. Bones movie.
The dopest droid to never see the film screen. Ugh.
Right? The only version that we've ever gotten of Mr. Bones, besides obviously the books that he's in, is the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I play as him almost every fucking time that I play the game.
I didn't know he was in that.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's one of the unlockable characters, and it is hilarious.
Stephanie made it for a few minutes.
Hey,
hi Stephanie.
Shit.
How you doing?
What's up?
Been a long time. I've missed you. Say hi to the fam. All right, let's talk some Star Wars. So, fucking Moff Gideon and Bo-Katan are facing off. He destroys the Darksaber. Don't care. I'm glad it's gone. Fuck that thing.
Pretty much.
If your entire culture is wrapped up around a physical object, you have a shit culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Life of Brian. Worship the gourd. No, worship the shoe. Why are you listening to worship anything? Just fucking live your life, you fucking sheep.
Right.
God damn. Ugh. They're the worst. So, I don't remember what fucking prompted that rant.
The Darksaber.
Darksaber, that's what it was.
Yeah. Finally got destroyed. So, I mean, of course, it's cool to see it, but at this point, it's just sort of like boring. So cool. It's done. It's out of the game. Because realistically, like, who the fuck's going to fix it? None of them. The last Mandalorian that knew how to use the Force, thus knowing how to create a lightsaber, was Mandalore the Uniter, who built the fucking Darksaber. So it's out of the question of it being rebuilt. At least I like to think so.
So I've heard a lot of, I say a lot, I've heard people say online, this sort of amorphous they, The Mandalorian is not about Din Djarin, it's about Din Grogu. What do you think about that? Like, Grogu is the Mandalorian that will then unite the tribe, or do you think that ship's already sailed? Like,
I would
already did it.
Fucking come so hard that the front of my pants would just explode, and it would be like when Thanos snaps, the explosion just turns it into dust and it just flies away. Like, that's how fucking awesome that would be. It would make sense, and I mean, really, I don't care, but that'd be fucking cool to see.
I do feel like they've sort of played out the Mandalorian reuniting scene, right? Like that was what this entire season was about. It was teased in season 2. It's playing out in season 3. The Mandalorian, all the different factions are finally united.
Yeah, the two different factions.
Well, there's the remnants. That's 3. Those two guys, okay. They were important.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. No, there were 5 of them, I think, Adam.
Really? Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't remember.
I'm fucking nativist or something. Yeah, they're all finally together again. Mm-hmm. Did it bother you that there was never like a culminating scene of Din Djarin and Bo-Katan? Like, he set her up as the de facto leader. Mm-hmm. He facilitated the whole union of the tribes. He kept it all together. He had everyone's back. But there was never a moment in the end where she was like, "Thanks, Din." And he was like, "You got it, Toots." Like, nothing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't expect anything. But yeah, it's thinking about it now. It's like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Why wouldn't she just like at least did the whole like she does to everybody else?
Dude. Thing is, like I love the actress until fucking this last 2 episodes, and I've learned to hate her face. And it sucks because she does the same thing she's just like, she has this weird like raised look It's like every single episode, every scene that she's on camera, watch it, she does this. Every time. He's like, is that your only move as an actress? Fuck.
I mean, I guess.
All right, give me a goddamn, like, let me do, like, I could do it too. Fuck.
That's it. You guys heard it here. Adam's the new Mandalorian.
Not sure if you talked about the ending yet. Did it remind anyone else the Andy Griffith show?
Yeah.
I called it Raising Arizona, but I appreciate Andy Griffith too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nope. I totally see it. Him kicking his feet back. Yeah, it's definitely there.
I can clearly
see. I have a hard time. Like, it's like I there's aspects of her performance that I don't like, but at the same time, it's like so cool to see a voice actor playing. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where I stand on that, whether I can't stand her or not.
It's just her face. Everything else is great. So, I'm one to talk, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's wearing on me. I can't. You also can't stand her. She was so good in Battlestar Galactica. Like, that's the thing. I still love that character so much.
And Clone Wars and Rebels. Yeah. Like, she has been fantastic as the character, but like, there's something about her physically portraying it. It's just kind of a little off.
What's hilarious about Chris's last comment is that he has no idea that Steph's husband is a prolific, celebrated banjo player.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and fucking tastic.
He's actually a talented fucking banjo player. Mm-hmm. My dad played banjo. I love the banjo. It's up there with like with bagpipes. Like, I think it's a wildly misunderstood instrument. People complain about it because they're ignorant, and
100%.
Whatever. This is the way was such a get out of jail card to exit a scene. Thanks for tuning in, Stu. Yeah, man. I hate that saying.
Yeah, it went from being really cool to being to being okay to being, God, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I couldn't tell whether when he was like, well, then I'll just adopt him. That way he can be my apprentice. And she was like, this is the way.
Yeah.
You got me on a technicality. Like, I couldn't tell him, like, he was like, I should be excited because, like, Din would be like, yeah, gotcha. Or, technicality for rules. And she was just like, fuck rules. All right, I guess. Or if she was really like, well played, sir. I couldn't figure out where she was.
She's really hard to read.
It's probably because it's just a helmet and, like, nothing else.
Yeah, but that's not always the case. I mean, look at Din. Like, he's always got his helmet on. He's very easy to read.
That's true. Probably because he's a very simple man. He just kills people. Like, that's it.
That's true.
He just goes forward, protects Grogu, and kills people.
Yeah.
You gotta respect it.
That's all we need.
There was, like, this really brief moment where Din was saying, we have to destroy them, like, destroy these clone lives. And he's almost looking to Grogu for approval or acceptance of the reality that has to take place. And then Grogu gives it, and the scene moves on. I couldn't help feel like, why are you asking the child his permission or his acceptance? Like, who gives a fuck what this kid thinks?
Right.
And on the other side of that is, he's a fucking Jedi. Like, once you go down the dark path, forever will it fucking dominate your... I can't remember fucking sayings anymore. This is going to be a Bushism moment if I try to fucking quote Yoda at this moment.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me twice.
Can't get fooled again.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
But it just, like, it bothers me that he's supposed to be a Jedi, and yet he's exposed to such horrendous, and then participates in horrendous violence, and it never seems to affect him at all. And then the other side of that is, why the fuck does a grown-up need to get a kid's fucking acceptance for anything? Like, what the fuck is going on? I just feel like they're playing loosey-goosey with some pretty heavy concepts that are germane to what the Force and Jedi and Star Wars means. And they're doing it for entertainment's sake, you know, like, hey, let's just look past this because, you know, it's fun to watch Grogu fucking force push and pull and Din murder people. Mm-hmm. But the other side of that is that in season 2, when Grogu met that loving frog family and the importance of the mother taking care of her eggs, that was a moment of clarity for Grogu. Up until that point, this young Force-using to-be Jedi was shown nothing but violence, hate, and death by not only the people that abducted him, and then, you know, his life at the Jedi Temple before that, but also his entire time with Din Djarin. Yeah. And so finally he sees this mother who actually cares for another living entity, her eggs, and she loves them. And then Grogu witnesses them, the reuniting of the husband with her, and the love that they shared was this really sort of, I'm going to say human because that's how we interpret emotions, but it was this very human moment that Grogu got to see, oh, well, maybe aggression and violence isn't the only thing. Maybe there's something greater than that. And it's the promise of a future Jedi understanding this wide, chaotic galaxy, becoming a Luke Skywalker, a brilliant Jedi. But they never really paid that off in this. And it's maybe I'm just reading into it. It seemed like they were setting it up in season 2, but they didn't ever really flesh that out. And they just went right back to the pure violence. I want a moment where Grogu's like, no. Let's not fucking murder these people. Let's figure out another way. Let's be a Jedi and look beyond the moment and just figure out a different way. I want that so
it's bad. Like the only time we've got that has been when the two Mandalorians were fighting. And it's like they weren't going to even kill each other anyways.
All right. Well, I guess I didn't have to rant for 10 minutes there because you just fucking shit on my point in 2 seconds. Yeah, that's true. He did already do that. All right. Thanks, Dick.
No, I'm just saying it's like that's the only time that's happened.
Yeah, you're right, though. You're right. Fuck. He did do it. Like, it fucking bugs me that I just made this big, long point for nothing. All right. I'm going to blame the weed. So let's talk about well, I don't know. What's left? The fucking Axe Woves going into space?
What's that?
Axe Woves going into space?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, there's that, and then he's crashing the ship. Yeah. But it's like, actually not stupid like other Star Wars ship crashes. He's like, I'm gonna wreck this. Cool, I'm gonna go fuck off because I got a jetpack. Mm-hmm. Like it's yeah, I mean that was okay. That's how Gideon dies, I guess, or presumably dies.
So do you think he's dead? Because we didn't
I hope so. Body. He's fucking pointless. Yeah, but I mean Beskar, it protects you against all kinds of shit, but not from cooking. So
or a fucking Star Destroyer, a fucking cruiser falling on you.
Yeah. So hopefully he's dead. Yeah, no, that's fucking pretty much it. I mean, the rest of the Mandalorians fuck off back to Mandalore and light the Great Forge. Hooray!
Yeah.
And then Din goes back to Navarro. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Din goes back and says, hey, look, this has been a wild and crazy ride, but, you know, well, first he went to the fucking New Republic's cantina.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, hey, so I know you need someone, and I need to, you know, work, so maybe you could hook a brother up. And he was like, well, let me think about it. He was like, you already have. Wink. And then we had the fucking Looney Tunes ending.
And then they got an IG head from it, because that's where the memory core is, I guess.
Right. Of all the weird fucking things, like, looks like you have an IG head. I'll trade you for that. Okay. Weirdly convenient, and we just, like, tie up that weird thread that was just hanging out there for 6 episodes ago. It was so strange, and it felt like this entire episode was... like every loose thread, they were just like, ooh, we got to tie that. We got to tie it all together. Like we have to at least close every little open ending, which I think also arguably is why most people think this is more of a series ending versus a season ending.
Yeah.
But like, why do you think they were going through like doing everything? Like they closed every fucking loophole.
I don't fucking know. It's a lot of it too was shit that didn't even need to be there.
Yeah.
So it was fucking stupid. Yeah. And then for it to be such a short episode, like that's the weirdest part of it.
Yeah, you could have had the fucking Din Djarin Bo-Katan moment. Add in 3 minutes. You're done. Like, you could have, I don't know, you could have fucking rounded it off. Instead of having like a fucking weird series ending, you know, like a Leave It to Beaver ending. It was just like everything's happy, everything's great. You know, it's sort of like fucking circle closing ending. It could have just been right when he was like talked at the fucking bar, and that was it, and just end it there. I feel like there's 3 different endings to this episode, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, there definitely was.
In 30 minutes. Like,
yeah.
Fuck. Couldn't you have done anything more? Like, I don't know, like, fucking play it out a bit more. Give us a fucking 8-minute fucking fight. I'm trying to remember the film that you fucking showed me. They live? They're alive?
Oh, They Live?
Yeah, that like 6-minute fight.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Like, give us that, and you pad the episode out with just that. Sorry, guys, I butchered that reference for any of you watching this. You'll have no idea what we're talking about. All right, well, let's fucking wrap this bitch up. What was your favorite moment of this?
So, I mean, I loved the mouse droids.
Yeah, they're silly.
Always a good one. Yeah, right. I think that was probably my favorite part. I'm trying to think back, and it's like, I mean, there was a lot of. This was an episode that if you didn't think about stuff, it was really good because there was a lot of shit going on. Yeah. But as per usual, talk about it, and it's kind of like, wow, that really wasn't that good. Yeah, the mouse droids were fucking great. Loved them.
Yeah, it was like a top 3 episode for me of this season. Just this season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
For me, my favorite moment was the references, and it wasn't even direct. It was the aside references to Dark Troopers and Dark Jedi. I really like those story beats in EU, and I love that they pulled them out, even though they never explored them really or did anything with them interestingly. But yeah, it was there, so that gave me a little nostalgia. What was your least favorite moment?
I don't even know where to start with that. I mean, I guess probably the biggest one was the fucking jetpacks. Like, don't give me an episode where nobody can fly that far, and then magically this episode just everybody's flying the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. But when you get that previous episode of, oh, we can go like halfway through this canyon. No, that is fucking dumb.
Yeah, that was weird. My least favorite was probably Praetorian Guards. I think
they were pointless.
Fucking useless. Like, you could have any fill-in bad guy take their place, and it would be just as impactful. He's just fucking dumb. The Mythosaur, I feel like that was I don't think we're gonna. I would like to see a Mandalorian riding a Mythosaur. I don't need to see it.
No.
So, I don't know. Like, I hope they don't have Bo-Katan on a fucking Mythosaur fucking, you know, going crazy.
Yeah, doing Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, we don't need to see that.
Yeah, so I didn't see that as an open thread for me. I just was like, it was a callback to an earlier episode. The Mandalorians are finally home. The Mythosaur is fucking awakened. Mandalorians are back. That's kind of the vibe I got. I don't know. Future seasons. Do you think there's going to be a new one? Like, what would you like to see in a new season?
Not this. Anything but what we got with this season. It was just stupid as fuck.
Yeah. Take us back to fucking season 1. Just random episodes of misadventures.
Yeah, just him and the child. Yeah. That's it.
I would love to see how the child deals with those Jawas when fucking they were like demanding an egg to give him his spaceship parts back. Like, hilarious. I would love to see that. I want to see Grogu try to eat a Jawa.
Yeah, that'd be fucking hilarious.
That could happen. Like, just give us a fucking thing. Fucking Grogu just like grows to like Jabba the Hutt size. He starts eating Jawas like fucking
that'd be hilarious.
Chicken nuggets. All right. Anything else you want to do this?
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate your time and attention. This has been our review of the final episode of The Mandalorian Season 3. And let us know what you thought. If you're not joining us live in chat, put it in the comments. Were there points that really landed for you? Like, you really had a good time with her. It's just something that just didn't sit right with you. Let us know in the comments below. We appreciate it. Until the Infernal Brotherhood convenes again, may the Force be with you.
You are now Din Grogu, Mandalorian apprentice.
Dun, dun, dun.